In the turbulent waters of the Red Sea, a significant escalation has just unfolded. The U.S. Navy has taken decisive action, launching a series of powerful strikes against Houthi targets in Yemen. This move wasn't unprovoked. It came as a direct response to a barrage of attacks by the Iran-backed Houthi rebels on international shipping lanes, a critical artery for global trade. For weeks, commercial vessels and even naval ships have been under threat, with drones and missiles disrupting one of the world's most vital maritime corridors. The situation reached a boiling point, forcing the United States and its allies to respond with force. So what exactly happened? And what does this mean for the stability of the Middle East and the global economy? Let's break down this major development. The operation, carried out by US and British forces, was a coordinated effort involving fighter jets and Tomahawk missiles launched from warships and a submarine. The targets were carefully selected. We're talking about Houthi radar systems, drone storage and launch sites, and missile facilities. According to US Central Command, over 60 targets across 16 different locations were hit. The goal was clear: to degrade the Houthis' ability to continue their attacks on shipping. This wasn't just a symbolic gesture. It was a calculated military operation aimed at crippling their offensive capabilities. The strikes were a direct retaliation for what the Pentagon described as more than a dozen separate attacks on ships since mid-November. The Houthis, for their part, have claimed their actions are in solidarity with Palestinians in Gaza, targeting ships they believe are linked to Israel. However, the reality is that vessels from numerous countries have been targeted, affecting crews and economies worldwide. To understand the gravity of the situation, we need to look at the location. The Red Sea, connected to the Mediterranean by the Suez Canal, is a linchpin of international trade. Around 12% of global trade, including a significant portion of the world's oil and liquefied natural gas, passes through these waters. The Houthi attacks have forced major shipping companies like Maersk and Hapag-Lloyd to reroute their fleets. Instead of taking the direct route through the Suez Canal, ships are now taking the much longer and more expensive journey around the southern tip of Africa, the Cape of Good Hope. This detour adds thousands of miles, weeks of travel time, and millions of dollars in fuel costs to each voyage. The ripple effects are already being felt. We're seeing rising shipping insurance premiums, potential delays in deliveries of goods, and concerns about a new wave of inflation as these increased costs are passed on to consumers. If you've been wondering why your online orders might take longer, or why prices on certain imported goods could go up, this is a major contributing factor. The international response has been a mix of support and caution. The United Kingdom played a direct role in the strikes, with Prime Minister Rishi Sunak calling it a necessary and proportionate action for self-defense. Other allies, including Australia, Bahrain, Canada, and the Netherlands, provided non-operational support, signaling a broader coalition of concern. A joint statement from these nations emphasized that the goal is to de-escalate tensions and restore stability in the Red Sea. However, not everyone is on board. Iran, the primary backer of the Houthis, condemned the strikes, calling them a violation of Yemen's sovereignty. Russia also requested an emergency UN Security Council meeting to discuss the military action. Within the United States, there's a debate as well. While there is bipartisan support for protecting international waters, some lawmakers have raised concerns about the president authorizing military action without explicit congressional approval, reigniting the long-standing debate over war powers. So what happens next? The big question on everyone's mind is whether this will deter the Houthis or lead to an even wider conflict. The Houthis have vowed to retaliate, and their leaders have stated that the American and British strikes will not go unanswered. This raises the alarming prospect of a direct tit-for-tat confrontation between a powerful US-led coalition and an entrenched battle-hardened rebel group. The Houthis have proven to be a resilient force, having withstood years of conflict in Yemen. Their arsenal, supplied and supported by Iran, includes sophisticated anti-ship ballistic missiles and long-range drones, making them a formidable threat in the region. A sustained conflict in the Red Sea could have devastating consequences, not just for the regional players, but for the entire global economy. It could also risk drawing other nations deeper into the conflict, turning a regional crisis into a much larger international one. This military action is part of a broader U.S. strategy called Operation Prosperity Guardian. This is a multinational security initiative established in December to protect ships transiting this critical waterway. More than 20 countries have joined the effort, sending naval assets and personnel to patrol the Red Sea and the Gulf of Aden. The mission is defensive in nature, focused on intercepting incoming Houthi drones and missiles. USWARSHIPs like the USS Dwight D. Eisenhower Carrier Strike Group have been at the forefront, successfully shooting down numerous projectiles in recent weeks. The recent offensive strikes represent a significant shift from a purely defensive posture to an offensive one, signaling that the coalition's patience has worn thin. The message is clear: attacks on international shipping will not be tolerated, and there will be consequences. The human element in all of this cannot be overlooked. The crews on these commercial ships, seafarers from all over the world, are on the front lines. They face the daily threat of missile strikes while doing their jobs to keep global supply chains moving. There have been several incidents where missiles have narrowly missed vessels or struck them, causing damage, but fortunately, so far, no major casualties among the crews. For the people of Yemen, who have already endured nearly a decade of devastating civil war, this escalation brings new fears of intensified conflict and further instability. The humanitarian crisis in Yemen is one of the worst in the world, and any expansion of the conflict could make a dire situation even more catastrophic. The challenge for the international community is to neutralize the threat to shipping without exacerbating the suffering of the Yemeni population. From an economic perspective, the stakes are incredibly high. The uncertainty in the Red Sea is already causing jitters in global markets. Oil prices saw a spike following the news of the US and British strikes, as traders worried about potential disruptions to supply. While the immediate jump was moderate, a prolonged conflict could send energy prices soaring, impacting everything from the cost of gasoline at the pump to the price of heating your home. Major manufacturers are also watching closely. Companies like Tesla and Volvo have already announced temporary production halts at some of their European factories due to delays in receiving parts that are being rerouted around Africa. This shows just how interconnected our global economy is, and how a conflict in one corner of the world can have a direct impact on industries thousands of miles away. Looking ahead, the path forward is fraught with uncertainty. Will these strikes be a one-off action, or are they the beginning of a sustained campaign? US officials have stated that they will not hesitate to take further action if the Houthi attacks continue. This sets the stage for a potential long-term, low-intensity conflict in the Red Sea. Diplomacy will be crucial. Efforts to broker a ceasefire in Yemen and find a political solution to the underlying conflict are more important than ever. The United Nations and other international mediators will be working behind the scenes to try and de-escalate the situation and prevent a wider regional war, which would be disastrous for everyone involved. The world is watching the Red Sea with bated breath, hoping for a return to stability, but preparing for the possibility of a prolonged period of tension and conflict. This is a rapidly evolving story, and we will continue to bring you the latest updates as they happen. The decisions made in the coming days and weeks by leaders in Washington, London, Tehran, and Sanaa will have far-reaching consequences. For now, the global shipping industry remains on high alert, and the navies of the world are patrolling a critical waterway. that has suddenly become a major geopolitical flashpoint. The intersection of regional conflict, global trade, and international laws playing out in real time in the waters of the Red Sea. Thank you for watching. If you found this breakdown helpful, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss our future updates on this and other important global stories. Stay informed and stay safe.